According to a conducted survey, 16.7% of teachers reported that they have taught fully online prior to the pandemic, compared to an 83.3% of teachers who did not. And on a scale from 1 through 5, 1 being the easiest and 5 being the most difficult regarding the difficulty of the pandemic for teachers, 16.7% of teachers reported a difficulty rating of 3, 33.3% reported a score of 4, and 50% rated a difficulty of 5. These numbers show that majority of teachers were inexperienced in teaching online prior to the pandemic. In addition, the results lean more so towards the fact that teachers found it difficult to teach during the pandemic.
What did affect me was that I'm a hands-on project-based CTE teacher, teaching video production, and we're not in class to do video projects. What do we do? And same thing with a lot of the other stuff, even photography and stuff. So on that end, that's where I had to shift gears and really, pivot, I guess.
Among surveyed teachers who taught during the pandemic, they have expressed what was most difficult for them, and there are commonalities between them. Some of these difficulties were engaging the students and managing their own needs as a teacher, as well as teaching their students how to be virtual, in addition to tech issues, student behavior, while balancing their own child at home experiencing online schooling as well. As these are important difficulties to note, some of the difficulties that stood out the most had to do with communication with parents regarding lack of participation and submission of assignments, trying to find the balance and attempting to be flexible with the rigor, in addition to absence of students to parents, allowing their child to miss class to babysit their siblings. Following these difficulties, some teachers have elaborated on some situations that they have experienced. Some of these situations had to do with students not turning on their cameras and being unresponsive. One elementary teacher notes, "It was stressful and difficult to manage 4th grade students from the other side of the screen. Many did not pay attention, some of which were watching TV or walking around, or cameras were just off while others were not logged into class. Other students would be distracted by siblings at home." In addition to tech issues, this elementary teacher mentions how teaching content, ensuring they understood concepts was difficult with math, especially as students cheated. There wasn't any in-person training with elementary students to teach them the technology skills needed to be online since we shut down immediately and were not able to. There was also no one to really monitor the students at home a lot of the times. Other teachers have also shared the experience of unresponsive and absent parents in regards to their child's learning. Somewhat on the other side of things, there were college students majoring in the education field who were struggling with being an online student while simultaneously student teaching online.
So when the pandemic forced itself on us in March 2020, we were in the middle of our student teaching semester, and everything shut down abruptly. And so that particular semester, there was a lot of anxiety. We were waiting for our mentor teachers to get guidance from their schools. And we, in some respects, felt a little helpless because we could not guide our students because it wasn't for us to guide. It was the department that needed to guide our next steps. And so what I effectively had to do was meet with those groups more often. My students, they were in groups, and so I had to meet with them more regularly, and a lot of it had to do with the assignments, but most of it had to just put them at ease and just support them and let them know, that it's okay. We're gonna figure this out. We've got them covered. I mean, that's hard, right? When you've worked so hard to get where you are and you're in your final semester and then you can't go to the schools, which is a huge part of our program. They have to go to the schools and complete their student teaching. Otherwise, they don't complete the program, and they don't graduate. On and on and on. And so one of the things we had to do was petition the Hawaii Teacher Standards Board to make an exception in the event that our students weren't able to report to the classroom. And so we had to ask for an extension, because HTSB, they sort of take over this part of it. And so we had to ask for permission to either give them more time or to be more flexible. And with the governor's orders in place, it was an easy call for HTSB to make. And so we advocated on the behalf of our program and our students.
As college students, they also experience relatively the same challenges as public school students. Aside from the usual tech issues, it was difficult for them to stay focused and learn in general, as some things were better taught in person, and in addition, they felt a lack of support with an overload of work. According to a conducted survey with the University of Hawaiʻi West Oʻahu education students, there are many various reasons that made student teaching during the pandemic difficult for them. Just like public school teachers, what was difficult for them was learning how to be virtual, certain student behavior and keeping them engaged in learning, and overall participation from the students if they were even there. If not, students were commonly spotty in attendance. They were either not present at all in class or going in and out of the virtual class. Another difficulty highlighted by one of the student teachers is in regards to the lack of support from administration. An ongoing situation occurred where a student with special needs was taught through a hybrid schedule. The student teacher had to do everything from teaching and assigning lessons in addition to tracking the student's behavior. In this situation, the student teacher was not supposed to do everything. Rather, the actual teacher was supposed to be doing their job. With this situation, administration knew about it for quite a while as the student teacher attempted to seek help, but they did not help in return. Within the topic of support of students and teachers and student teachers comes with the discussion around equity of and access to resources for schools and students amidst the pandemic.
Schools across the island, we have students in Windward districts, Leeward districts, Honolulu, Central, so all over. And so it's very clear to us that if you were a student in one particular district, one particular school, you didn't skip a beat.
Across the board, I think that's an issue. When it comes to the pandemic, yes. I was working for a low-income charter school, which is what I'm used to working for. And equity is always an issue. I mean, I have to, I'm a technology teacher, and I would come into classrooms and I would literally have desks and that's it. And they expect me to teach, video production, So I'm like, well, where are our cameras? Where's our equipment? Oh, we don't have it. Well, what's my budget? You don't have a budget, Then my job that, what I'm getting paid for is to deliver instruction, but my job turns into a fundraiser, and I'm writing grants and I'm researching all these different types of grants, just to get equipment and computers and cameras and, and other things that we need, So I'm in that sense, I'm kind of used to it. I'm used to the inequity that we see in education. And instead of sitting there crying about it, I do something about it because that's our only choice,
Overall, with these issues that have occurred in the education system globally and most especially statewide in Hawaii, they will always occur no matter what island, school district, complex area, city, or school you are at. So where does a solution lie? Is there even a solution at all?